Hello, my name is Daniel Gruesso. I am the product manager for the Configure Orchestration group here at GitLab. And today I'm going to be chatting about the exciting things that we will be working as part of our 12.5 release that will be shipped on November 22nd. So let's get right to it. The first thing that we're going to work on is the ability to create an AWS ECS cluster within GitLab. This is something that we started work on our past release, and we're going to work to get it over the lines for 12.5. And it basically will be very similar to our current GKE integration with some important differences. So there's a prerequisite where the users will have to create an IAM policy and an IAM role on the AWS side and input those values on the GitLab side. And then the flow will be very similar to what we have today with GKE, but we will take care of that creation for you automatically. So very excited to add support for more cloud providers. And as we step into the future, we'll try to add support for some more. The next thing that we're going to be working on is from 12.4 as well, and we're going to get it over the line on this particular release, and that is an advanced setting to delete all the Kubernetes resources when you remove a cluster from GitLab. So as you know today, when you create a cluster and you remove that cluster from GitLab, all the resources that were created specifically for that project will remain on that cluster. So let's say if GitLab created a specific namespace, service account, role binding, and all of those things remain in your cluster and they have to be manually removed. So what we will do with this particular feature is that once you remove it from GitLab, we will present you with an advanced setting that will allow you to remove all the integration and resources, and that will basically take care of all the cleanup for you. And that way, let's say if you want to use that cluster on a separate project, you'll be able to do that in a very easy manner. So very excited to bring you that. Let's move on to the next feature. And this is the ability to customize a Kubernetes namespace per environment. So today, there are a lot of software shops that have an existing Kubernetes practice. And when they bring GitLab into the fold, our integration will create specific namespaces for each one of the environments that you have out there. So basically, this will provide you the ability to map an existing namespace to an environment that you will be using with GitLab. So let's say if you create a staging environment and a production environment, and you already have namespaces for those two environments, then you will be able to plug those in here, and the GitLab integration will use those namespaces instead of the namespaces that it generally creates. So this will be very useful for a number of people that have an existing Kubernetes practice, but they want to take advantage of all the cool features that we have with our Kubernetes integration. So very excited to bring that as well. Let's talk about the next one. This is one that's very exciting and a feature that I'm looking forward to very much. So this is the ability to version control all the GitLab managed apps that we offer you as part of our Kubernetes integration. The genesis of this feature is that we have a lot of advanced users that when they install an application onto their cluster, they want to do some customization to that application. So let's say if you don't want to take the default values of the Helm chart, but there's a couple of things that you want to change before you install it. Today, that's not something that's possible. So let's say if you install the GitLab runner and as a chart in Kubernetes, and you want to pass it a TOML configuration file, there's really no mechanism to do that today. So we are looking to bring you a way to easily customize all the installation of your GitLab managed apps. The way that we're going to do that is as follows. When you provision a cluster, we will have an advanced setting that will allow you to define a project that will hold all the configuration for your cluster. And what I mean by configuration is it will hold, for example, the charts that you have the possibility to install. And it will hold any customization that you have for those charts. So that's kind of at a high level what the feature would be. And this brings many benefits, but the two main ones that I want to talk about is that it allows you to easily customize the charts before you install them onto your cluster. It allows you to version control basically all of the changes that you make to your charts. If you, for example, made a customization that didn't quite work out, it's all version control. You can see it right there, and you can roll it back as necessary. And another very big benefit is that the installation of the applications now will be taken care of by GitLab CI. So for example, when you decide to install one of the charts, what that will do in the background is that it will kick off a GitLab CI pipeline that will use all the configuration that you have in that project that holds all the configuration for your cluster. And that kind of makes two things. It allows you to see in real time all the steps that are going on in this installation of this chart. And number two, it makes troubleshooting a lot easier. So today, for example, if one of your charts fails to install, what you would have to do is, go onto your Kubernetes cluster and, whatever provider you may have, and you can either look at the pod logs or look at any other kind of logging mechanism that you have in place to try to figure out what went wrong. And what this will do is, as part of the CI pipeline, of course, we will have all the communication between the runner and the cluster, and that will basically provide all the feedback right there on the pipeline output, and that is very useful. So there's a plethora of benefits that we get with version controlling all the GitLab managed apps and have them run from GitLab CI. So we're very excited about this. This is something that we're getting started on, and it probably will take us a couple of releases. So the first thing that we want to do here is that we want to allow you to specify which project holds the configuration and provide a couple of charts that you could install with these new methodologies. Of course, this will mean that there's going to be two ways of installing these applications. One is going to be the one that you know and love today, and then there's going to be an advanced setting that will allow you to use this new method. And then the vision that we have for this feature long term is that the current method that you will use to install those apps will be phased out in favor of this new one. And we hope that nothing really on the front end will change. So you will continue to see a list of apps, a list of install buttons, uninstall, upgrade, all of those things. And behind the scenes, what will happen is that GitLab CI will take care of all of that. So very excited about that. Let's see. Next, we will finally begin work on not running auto DevOps when a Docker file or matching build pack is not present as part of your project. So as part of this feature, what we've done is that we've added some new functionality to GitLab CI. So if you're familiar with the flexible rules that we have in GitLab CI, we've added a new rule that will basically check for the existence of certain files in your repo before a pipeline is run. And that will be the mechanism that we will use to take a look at the structure of your project. And if certain files are not there, we will not run auto DevOps. And that way, auto DevOps will be smarter about when to run, and it basically run when we know that it can add value. So this is yet another enhancement that we have for auto DevOps, and we plan to kind of cover more use cases as time goes by. And hopefully this will be a big step in getting there. And the last thing that we have planned for 12.5 is the ability to add CubeMonkey to GitLab Managed Apps. So CubeMonkey is an application that allows you to practice chaos engineering with your Kubernetes cluster. And the way that we're planning to do this is with the new method of installing GitLab Managed Apps onto your Kubernetes cluster. So when you install CubeMonkey onto your Kubernetes cluster, initially you will be able to do it with the GitLab Managed Apps, this new method. And you'll be able to set your own configuration here and basically inflict chaos in the way that CubeMonkey does today. And the vision that we have long-term for chaos engineering is that auto DevOps will allow you to practice chaos engineering out of the box with basically a configuration of a single variable. So the first step would be to install CubeMonkey onto your cluster. And the second step, which we'll hopefully get to in 12.6, will be adding the support for CubeMonkey in Auto DevOps. And let's say when you add a CI variable that says chaos enabled, then we will do chaos engineering using CubeMonkey as part of the Auto DevOps pipeline. And then further down the road, we will show you all the results of how your application behaved when chaos was introduced. So this is kind of the first step to getting there, which is the ability to install CubeMonkey onto your Kubernetes cluster. So very excited to work on these features as part of 12.5. And as always, feedback is welcome. Please feel free to reach out should you have any questions or want to discuss any of these issues in more detail. Thank you.